just to also talk a bit about the current situation, what do you think are the consequences for women and girls of the pandemic?
The pandemic made it visible, which was already there. So I don't think that the pandemic is a game changer, because all those inequalities, all those exclusions, what we already see, had been already there, just the pandemic made it visible. That the care work, the unpaid care work, is basically done by women, that the women's employment is based on the assumption that there is a functioning childcare system and schooling system. These are all now in question. So if the pandemic develops this way, and the pandemic situation is getting worse and worse, and the different states are melting down as they don't have money for social security and supporting the different social welfare provisions, we might also question if the working mother as a category is for sustainable at all, because women cannot go out from the home if there are no supporting mechanisms and institutions. And with this home officing, this really became obvious that women are those who are not only caring about the family and about the career, but they are also having serious issues with the employment.
Mm-hmm. So these illiberal sites, or these illiberal forces, let's say, which are active in all the European nation states, so to speak, do they have, in your eyes, also a specific impact on the situation of gender studies, the fight for gender justice?
When you are following what these illiberal governments are doing, the first thing is that they are attacking gender studies. And but this attack is not against gender studies as we know it, because they don't really care what gender studies is, but they created a kind of empty signifier instead of gender studies, and they are use it instead of gender studies. I know this is complicated, but this is a crucial point to understand. Because the facadism of these illiberal states are actually a very important modus operandi of these regimes. So you think you see something, but this is only the facade, this is only the surface, because what's really happening is behind that facade. The same thing is happening with gender studies. So they are speaking about gender studies, but they are not speaking about gender studies. And the way how they are attacking gender studies is basically setting up an alternative new vision for a livable alternative way to liberal democracy. So they are creating another community of values which are based on exclusion and the new normal. And this new normal is based on illiberalism and based on hate, and based on a belief that certain people have got the right to give certain normative statements. And the way how they set this up is with the fiery language of hate. And that's why this is extremely powerful, because on the other side, what you have is the language of gender equality policy language, which is really not appealing to a wider public. So when you are speaking about gender mainstreaming, work-life balance, gender budgeting, this is really not a language which is appealing to a wider audience. That's the reason why those forces which are attacking gender studies, they are using a fiercely populist language and the language of hate. And this is not about gender. Gender is only a symbolic glue which glues together the different aspects like hate, like exclusion, like an alternative vision of future. And that's why it is appealing to a very wide and very diverse audience. And that's why we see these attacks on gender studies everywhere globally, because gender is a fantastic, what they call gender is a fantastic tool in order to attract media attention, to attract support, and also to attract a very different political constituency.